Welcome to Make Shit Happen. I am joined today with one of my good friends, Julio Garcia. I love going to his Mexican restaurant called Ambrosia's. Man, he got a couple of them in Houston, and I love enjoying it because it's a little different than a regular traditional Mexican restaurant. It's more of a flavor of Mexico City. I love the street corns. Julio, thank you for coming. Thanks for making the trip, man. I appreciate it.
Sam, thank you for having me.
I want to know how can I get the free corn, the street corn for free every time.
What you gotta do is tell them it's your first time.
It's my first time.
Always.
They look at me and they're like, man, it's not your first time. So, Julio, thank you very much for coming in, first of all. Crazy times we are living in, man.
Oh my God, man! I never thought I would go. I believe in this type of environment.
Yeah. So, Julio, people who don't know who you are, people who don't know your restaurant, because you got two of them right now, and they basically, one is in Cypress and the other one is it's also
Park.
considered Cypress Vintage Park kind of thing. And I heard of you from one of my good friends, Josh Sebesta, who's our broker, both of ours. And I think you used to have a Mia Bella or something before.
I used to own Mia Bella. Yes.
You used to own Mia Bella, right? So tell us, and the Mia Bella was more like an Italian concept. What is that?
It was an Italian concept. Yes.
And what happened with that one?
So I used to work for the guy who created Mia Bella.
Okay.
I was their manager and eventually director of operations. We went separate ways, and at one point, I think he decided he didn't want to operate restaurants anymore. And the first person he called to franchise his company was me.
Okay.
So he sold me his restaurant back in 2009. And little by little, I just purchased the rest and opened more.
And then how many did you own at one time?
We had, I think I had a total of seven.
Seven
Mia Bellas. And by the time I sold the company, I was down to four.
Now, you were down to four, and then you decided that you were going to sell Mia Bella, and then you were going to get in the Mexican food concept. Why?
So it was a process. I was madly in love with the project with Mia Bella. It made me a restaurateur. And during the process, my wife, Amber, she said, hey, why don't we do something that we're really passionate about? Mexican food is whole culture. So she came up with the idea, and we started toying with the idea, looking for locations, interviewing designers. And, I think the name Ambrisa went from Bocados and I don't know. We had 1,000 different names, and eventually one day she's sitting at Mia Bella and it's like, oh, Ambrisa. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. And it was catchy. So that's how the concept started. I was supposed to own Mia Bella and manage that, and then she was supposed to manage Ambrisa. Ambrisa, though, we opened, and first day we opened, no marketing, 45-minute wait.
Really?
Lunch. And it's been like that ever
Now that's
since.
the one in Vintage Park.
That's the one in Vintage Park.
Okay.
Now the one in Cypress, first day we opened, hour wait.
Well, I know because I was there first day, and I'm like, man, what the heck is this? That's a great concept for you. And people, there's no Mexican food like that. I mean, unless you go to Hugo's or Sochi, which is Chef Hugo's concepts, right?
Yes.
But yours is a little different, and I mean, people. It's not like a Tex-Mex, and it's not like a regular, North Mexican food. It's more, the Mexico City, which we don't have a lot in Houston. And I mean, so it's just a perfect thing. And I know you won an award for your drink or something, right?
So far we competed in 8 different competitions for best margaritas. And so far we 8 for 8. Best
8 for 8.
8 for 8. Best margaritas in Houston, Woodlands. I mean, you name it.
So best margarita. So if someone is looking for margarita, they got to go to Ambrosia. Hugo, Hugo's is one of the concepts is that something that inspired you because of the, where it's, how it is, or?
So I love what he does, right? I think for me, it's, he builds restaurants for the elite, right? They're expensive, they're beautiful. He does a good job with that. I took some inspiration from what he does, and I did it my own. I did it for my own way, more for the masses, more for the general public.
Yeah.
So I would compare our designs to his designs, right? The person who built Ambrisa or designed Ambrisa Cypress is the same designer for Sam Fox, who owns North Italia, True Foods,
Okay.
Culinary Dropout, some of the best
Yeah.
restaurants in Houston. So I've always believed that in business you have to go for and try to hire the best and do the best you can. So his name is Ricardo Catapan from CMD Design Bureau, and he's located in Phoenix. Nominated top 3 designer in the United States.
Really?
So we went to his office, flew to Phoenix, sat at his lobby, waited, and finally he said, "Hey, how can I help you?" So we shared a few stories, and he decided to design our space. And I can tell you, it's a beautiful design, and it's very appealing to the public.
So what made you want to invest their money in the design? I mean, there's a lot of people who open restaurants, right? And they just say, well, let's just open it. It's 4 walls. Let's put some tables. Let's put some Mexican art on there, and voila.
The restaurant industry has evolved, and it keeps evolving very rapidly. And I feel like if you don't stay with the times and with what the guests expect, well, you just little by little start dying. I see it over and over, right? Restaurants do very well and start dying. So I know that going to a restaurant today is not the same as it used to be. It's an experience. It's something that you want to be proud of. People work sometimes the entire 2 weeks or month so they can take their families out. And it's not about just going to an average restaurant where you get average food and average service. Right? I think you have to provide people with value. It's very important. And if you can do that in a beautiful environment, attached with hospitality, because to us, that's our training program. Hospitality is key. I feel that if you do it that way, you create loyalty. And you're the only restaurant in the area. You can be the busiest restaurant in the area if you follow that vision, right? For me, I want to be known to be a good restaurateur. I come from very humble beginnings, and I want to accomplish that. When people ask me often, how many restaurants do you want to accomplish, or how much money? And to me, it's not about the number of restaurants or money. To me, success is measured in how many people really appreciate your product and being recognized to be perhaps a pioneer in this industry. What we own is not a Tex-Mex restaurant. I remember when we first opened Ambrisa Vintage, people would ask for chile con queso and nachos. We don't do that in Mexico. So we would have people come, sit down, look at the menu, ask for nachos or chile con queso, and say, sorry, we don't serve that. And they would just get up and leave because that's what they were looking for, right? And many times we wondered, should we do that? Should we just, not stay true to our beliefs and just switch to those items? We attempted, we stuck to our ideals, and now people don't ask for it anymore. They ask for something different, and they enjoy what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So when you, now let me tell you, because people, when they, especially if you're not from Mexico or Mexico City or deep in Mexico, right, you don't know what the difference is. So if somebody who grew up in, let's say, around Monterrey, right, or Monterrey City, they don't know what a Mexico City, or their families from there, they go over there every summer or something. They don't know
Correct.
what a Mexico City culture is. So how do you educate people?
So I think, and this is something we do differently as well. We bring chefs from Mexico. Last chef we brought, she was award-winning. She's part of MasterChef Mexico. Her role in Mexico is to create the contest for every show, every episode for MasterChef Mexico. Very talented chef, Azul, and all of the chefs that we bring, we have one simple criteria. I am not a chef. If you ask my wife, she doesn't want me in the kitchen because I always make a mess and nothing comes out good. So we bring all the chefs, and the one thing that we ask the chefs is, I don't want anything fancy or too exciting. I just want authentic, quality, comfort food. And I think that when you serve the guests comfort food, there's no need for education. There's oftentimes people come and say, oh, this is not Mexican. Well, it depends on what region of Mexico, right? Our main course, Mexico City. But we brought chefs from Veracruz, and what they cook is very tropical, plantains. And you see a lot of that in our menu. People that, again, they're not from Mexico. Maybe they're from Venezuela or Colombia. They're, oh, man, this is Colombian or this is Venezuelan. Well, yeah, I know they serve it in Colombia and Venezuela as well. But I know we serve that also in Mexico.
Because they think when they look at plantains, they're like, well, that's South American.
Correct, South American.
They
or Puerto Rican. Yeah. This concept is mine, which is perfect.
And so let me ask you a question. You said you came from humble beginnings. Share us a little bit, like, when did you are from Mexico City originally.
Yes.
You came here when?
1996, March 3rd, 1996.
March 3rd, 1996. So it's been about 24 years roughly.
More or less, yes.
Okay. And so what made you come to United States? And did you come to Houston first or did you go somewhere else first?
So necessity, and that's the reality. We were doing okay in Mexico, but my father thought my future would be brighter if I moved to the United States. Plus, my oldest brother Marco was already here, and he had already spent a couple years in Houston. So my dad said, "I think you should go to Houston." And I didn't have any prospects in Mexico. I was going to school, doing okay, and I followed my dad's advice, and I moved to Houston. I came and lived with my brother, of course. He got me my first job at a restaurant named, it's no longer there. They moved to Katy, Las Alamedas.
Okay.
And they gave me my first opportunity I'm funny because I applied the first day and they looked at me and they said, sorry. Then my brother said, no, go back next week. And I went back the next week and they're like, okay, you want to wash dishes? We can use you. So I washed dishes for a little bit, and my goal and my daily prayer and dream was I wanted to be a server. That's what I wanted to be. I remember in my head I had a plan. How do I become a server, right? I need to learn the menu. I need to learn the language. I need to learn certain mannerisms, and I would practice. So when I got my big break from dishwasher to busboy, I knew I was going in the right direction, right? For me back then, if I died being a server, I would have felt like I had accomplished my lifelong dream, right? For me, servers that worked there, they were doing very well. Every time I would go catch a ride with one of the servers, man, they were driving these beautiful vehicles, and they had cash and girls, and so for me at the age of 19, man, that's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And little by little, opportunities opened up. That's the funny thing about accomplishing small goals. As you accomplish one, another one arises, and then you keep moving in that direction, and eventually you find yourself doing what you love, I think.
So you came here. You're 42 now, right?
Yes.
So you came to America at 18.
19.
18 or 19.
Yes.
You're still a little kid, right?
Correct.
And you lived with your family in Mexico City. Dad said, "Come over here." You flew, or how did you come?
I actually, my stepmom's parents, they drove me here.
They drove you over here. So drove from Mexico City, to United States. Only your brother is here, and your brother. How big of an age difference?
2 years.
2 years. So your brother's over there at 21, and you're 19. Gets you a busboy job, and you're working. And you're like, man, I just want to be a server. So tell us. Let's walk back down to memory lane. Now you become a busboy. Then what happened?
So being a busboy
At Las Alamedas.
At Las Alamedas, yeah. There were some very talented, kind people around us, right? Servers that really had a great vision, great goals. So some of them would spend time with us, all right, with me, just saying, hey, learn this, or do things this way, and you'll find your opportunity, mm-hmm. right? So, or I remember being a busboy and not speaking the language, of course. So a server said, okay, even if you don't understand it, when the guest says something to you, repeat it back, just how it sounds. And if the guest nods yes or says yes, that's what I want, come right back and tell me exactly how you said it. So I remember a guest would say, may I have butter? And I'd be like, okay, butter? And if the guest would not yes, I would run to the server. It's like, oh, quiere butter? Oh, mantequilla? Oh, perfect. And little by little, you're learning, the different words and the interaction with the guests. One of the requirements for my dad is that we needed to go to school, right? And I was 19. I know that you can only be in high school until the age of 21. So I remember going to school, and the person who took my application to enroll in high school, she said, why would you even try? You're 19 years old. You will never graduate. And of course, I don't know any better. My brother's there helping me out. And anyway, long story short, she enrolls me for high school. And it's funny because that same professor, I was on my last semester. Some of my credits from Mexico had transferred to this school. She said, Julio, you have 3 more credits left. From your transcript, tell me what else I can transfer into these terms and so you can graduate. Funny enough, she helped me graduate, and I graduated at the age of 21 from high school. In the process, of course,
What high school did you go over here?
LSIC.
Oh, LSIC. You went to LSUC.
I guess so.
I went to Hastings.
Hastings. Oh, wow. Right next door.
Yeah, right next door. Right. So where were you? So you went to LSIC. You graduated when you were 21. What was the main purpose of going to school at that 19?
I just wanted to learn the language.
You wanted to learn English?
Yeah.
So you were in ESL. In Annex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I mean, I went to the school, So I know ESL was, in A-Leaf, ESL. So, there's a lot of people who don't know, A-Leaf campuses were the biggest campuses at that time in Houston. So you got LSIC and Hastings right next to each other. And Annex connected both the schools.
Yes.
And, Annex where they put a lot of the ESL classes were. So, people who had come from out of the, and Houston is so diverse.
Yes.
So people from all over the world will go to these, they will come to Southwest because Southwest is a big melting pot, Southwest side of Houston. And then a lot of the kids were from in A-Leaf or Hastings. So you had kids from, Latin America, you had kids from Asia,
Russia,
Indian countries, Russian. I mean, you name it, right? I think at one time, in A-Leaf, there was like students from 47 or 48 different countries.
I don't doubt it. Wow.
And you were with a lot of them, I bet you.
100%.
So okay, now that let's keep going with the story. So you go, you're a bus boy, or you're repeating the customer's order, and then what happens?
So then the Las Alamedas, I don't know if you ever visited, they had a beautiful bar area.
The one on I-10.
The one on I-10, beautiful, gorgeous restaurant, man. Best restaurant in Houston, hands down. And then they had a bar area and an opportunity to be a cocktail waiter open up.
Okay.
You're right. You don't have to have as much knowledge. You just communicate the bare minimum. The bartenders were Hispanic, so you can communicate with the bartenders. Bilingual, of course. They were bilingual. And, I became a cocktail waiter. I started establishing relationships with the guests that came. And little by little, that's the beauty of this country, I believe. Most people, they're not judgmental. Right? All these patrons and guests that we had, they see you trying hard enough and really want a better future for yourself. And they forgive that maybe you're not perfect or you don't have the skills yet or the language. And they walk you through it, right? They ask for one thing, and if you don't understand it, then they find a different way, right? And if you don't understand it this different way, then they try something different. But there's always, they find a way to communicate with you. And this provides you with the confidence, the freedom, the happiness, I guess, that you're able to somehow interact with guests. And I think to learn a different language, that's what you need, right? If every time you say something, people shame you because it's not correct, I guess you just get enclosed yourself and you don't want to explore that opportunity. But again, at Las Alamedas, they were so empowering. And within 2 years of being in the States, my English was good.
Good enough.
In my head, it was perfect.
Okay, and then what? And then in 2 years, 3 years, how long did you stay at Las Alamedas?
So I was there from 1996 to 2000.
To 2000, for 4 years.
4 years.
Okay, and then at the top, when you left at 4 years, were you a server?
So funny, I became a server quickly. I moved to the bar, which was a very sought after position. The bartender that had been there prior to me had been there for 15, 16 years, and everybody knew him. So I was doing dual roles, bar back and this and that. And finally, I got my opportunity to be a bartender.
Okay.
And I loved that position. I loved that I knew every guest. I loved that I had the ability to make the drinks for every single guest at that restaurant. And honestly, it allowed me to create some phenomenal relationships. So after that, I was managing a little bit. The restaurant owner would take off early sometimes and say, "Hey, here are the keys. Just shut it down." Right? And I knew what to do. I knew where the money was, and I knew where the systems were. So But again, I reached that level, and in my head, I thought there's more out there for me. Um, it's funny because the restaurant industry seemed as a industry that maybe requires no skill, right? It's just something that you do while you pursue other dreams, and that was the case for me at that moment. I was going to college. I wanted to be an investment banker or someone big at Wall Street. I wanted to study economics and finance. So in 2000, I decided to resign, and I applied to work for Chase Bank. So Chase Bank, I submit my application. I wanted to be a teller. They said, no, I'm going to put you in the call center downtown. So I went to work at the call center downtown, and you're essentially answering phone calls and, verifying that the person on the other side is the right person and just providing information. So I was there for 3 weeks when I received my first paycheck. I looked at my first paycheck, and even though I knew what I was getting paid, I looked at my first paycheck and I thought, there's no way I can do this, right? I was making that in 2 days at the restaurant. So quickly I decided that that's not what I wanted. And I had too much pride. I didn't go back to Las Alamedas. I started bouncing from restaurant to restaurant. I worked for big chains, small chains, mom and pop. And I had a hard time finding a home.
So how long did that last for?
Oh man, it seemed like forever. I worked as a manager from 2000 to maybe 2009, maybe 2008.
Different restaurants.
Different restaurants, different projects. Some I stayed a couple years, some maybe a year. Again, in the back of my head, I still believe that I could be something else. In 2004. God put a dream in my head, and it was a very simple dream. It was, I was seeing how the industry was behaving and different business owners and the challenges that people that work for those business owners were facing. And I said, one day I'm gonna own my own restaurant, and I'm gonna do things right. I'm gonna make my employees my priority. I'm not gonna abuse them. I'm gonna create incentives. I had a whole vision but it was mainly based on the people that was gonna work for me. It was never about, again, money or what it was just about what I felt with the injustices of the industry, the people that I had worked for. And and then that idea just grew in my head. Challenge with me, same as many people. I wanted things done yesterday. Right. Everybody is like, okay, I want it and I don't want to wait, man. I want it now. And the funny thing about life is that it doesn't work that way. Right? You have to put in the work and the time and be patient and be kind and be willing to go through the heartaches and learn. But I wasn't. I wanted things so quickly. By the end of my journey, which now I understand, right? It was a long 5-6 year journey of me wanting to be a business owner. And I wrote business plans. I spoke with investors, land developers, shopping center owners. Wrote menus and designs. I mean, I did it for several years, and I just kept going and going, and denied. And by the end of this journey, I'm thinking, man, I want to do this so badly, and I feel like I have the right talents, but nobody will give me an opportunity. So I was very hard on myself. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I just didn't find the joy in life. And one day, out of nowhere, I said, you know what, God, it's on your hands. I'm just gonna do what I do very well, and if the opportunity comes, I'll take it. And if it doesn't, then I'll just enjoy what I'm doing. So after coming to terms, out of nowhere, I get a text from the guy who used to own the Italian chain, and he said, "Hey, you want to buy my restaurant?"
The Mia Bella.
And I'm thinking, what the hell is this? Is this a trap? I don't believe it, right? So I went to his restaurant, and the restaurant had an hour wait, busy, beautiful. Finally, he sits down with me and says, "What do you think?" I'm like, "I love it, but what's the problem?" It's like, "I want out. I don't want to operate businesses anymore."
And how did you know him?
I worked for him.
Okay.
In 2002, I went and worked for him as a bartender and grew into a director of operations for him. I found it too demanding, so I decided to just move on and do something else. So again, when he decided to franchise, I was the first person he called. And we agreed on a number, which in my head, man, it was I couldn't see how I was gonna come up with that money or pay it. He gave me the opportunity to pay him in payments. I gave him a good deposit, my life savings, and then he said, "You can pay me the rest in 5 years." I feel like I was so good at it. It took me 6 months to pay him off, and I haven't looked back. I haven't looked back.
And so like, when you were trying and trying and trying, and so what kind of message, and you failed, rejected, door closed, door closed, door closed. I mean, people do that all the time. They get the door closed and then they said, you know what, this is not for me. Why did you keep going?
I believed in it though. That was that dream in my heart was so big. So I would wake up dreaming about it. I would go to sleep dreaming about it. I would do
You're obsessed with it.
I was obsessed with that idea. And again, it wasn't about me, money or wealth, or it was about me just giving the opportunity to use my talents. Right, I thought I was really good at the industry, at taking care of the guests and the employees. So I was obsessed, 100%. It was a very difficult journey, but I think that I look back now and thank God for it, man. Because
so, Julio, is the journey over?
Oh no.
Journey is on right now.
It's just I think I'd reach a different level, but journey's here, right? And that's the beauty of being in business for yourself.
So tell me, like, what does Julio's schedule look like every day?
Oh man, I wake up, I lay up by the pool all day, and then I drink margaritas. No, it's challenging, and every day represents a different challenge, a different opportunity. I wake up in the mornings. Usually, I'm at the gym by 7 a.m. and I hit it hard. I spend an hour and a half at the gym, and I do that because it helps me clear my mind. It gets my blood going. It wakes me up, right? After that, I get ready, take a shower. I normally use a good 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to meditate, plan, pray, just be good with myself. I don't know if it happens to you, but a lot of people wake up, and from the moment you wake up, you're already gone. Right, your heart is pounding, you have 1,000 things to do, and you never find a time to just find yourself and then make decisions from a good place, right? You're making decisions out of fear, out of excitement, out of anxiety, and oftentimes the results of those decisions are not positive. So I've learned a long time ago that if I do spend 15, 20 minutes just finding myself meditating, bringing my heart rate down, praying, then I leave that room with a good mindset, and I head out and face the challenges as they come. I normally make it to the restaurants by 11 o'clock. I'm between restaurants between 11 and 7, 8 p.m. And come home, and normally dine with our family. And if there's anything left to do in the computer, because that's the one thing. Once I'm at the restaurant, I'm not on my computer. I'm not on my phone. I'm not, Facebook or I'm working, right? And I'm making sure that we all performing. My biggest vision today is to ensure that the staff around me, the managers and the soon-to-be owners, that my role is to make them perform at their best of their ability. So I study them, I analyze them, I know who they are, I know their weaknesses, their fears, what empowers them, and then I make sure that every day that I'm with them, I sharpen those gifts. And it's beautiful when you have a full restaurant and you're just taking a step back and you watch your staff perform, and everything is going flawless. That's my biggest goal. I work. I don't think I have had a day off since I started this journey.
You're in there 6-7 days.
6-7 days, and even when you're not there,
mind is working.
You're thinking of the business and you're strategizing, and you're always innovating, or you're always thinking.
That's a curse of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, let's talk about, you said when you're not there, you're strategizing, but you are there on the ground. A lot of young kids nowadays, they think like, man, you know what? I'm going to be a millionaire or multimillionaire. This guy did it. I can do it. But I don't need to work that hard. I get in business because I need freedom. I need time. What do you think about that?
I think that being in business for yourself gives you the freedom to do what you want in life. But again, once you're a business owner, all you want to do is take care of your business. So you wake up. I haven't had to use an alarm in 10 years, 12 years, right? I wake up and I'm not dreading having to go to work. I'm not dreading having to get things done. No, man, let's go, right?
Because you love it.
You love it. And that's the freedom being a business owner gives you. But it's not a freedom as to, man, I'm going to take vacations all the time and I'm going to maybe work 10 hours a week. No, sir. I think the more passionate you are about your business, the more you work, the more you want to be there, the more you excited you get to go and do what you got to do. So I think that's the freedom it gives you. I believe that anybody that is successful in life, it doesn't work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Yeah.
Right? They're successful. I don't care if you're a business owner or you're on top of your game. You're working weekends, 12-hour days to reach your goals.
Yeah. So when these a lot of younger generation, they think that it's a hoax. It's fake. It's a unicorn.
It's a unicorn. Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Funny you say that because I have two step kids, Alex and Damian. I love them. Great kids. But they have that mindset, right? That, man, I'm going to be a blogger. So, and this blogger that I'm following didn't go to high school, didn't do this, so I'm going to do that. And I'm thinking, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
I'm sure you see this guy just blog and do these things and you see him successful, but I'm sure there's a lot of preparation behind it.
Yeah.
I'm sure at this point, maybe he didn't go to college or high school, but I'm sure at this point, to be as successful as he is, he's working and he's doing a lot. So trying to create a good routine for them has been my priority. Now that schools are closed, I gave them a choice, either if you want to go spend time with your dad and live there and live by his rules, it's fine. But if you're going to live under my roof, I ask of 4 hours a day. And the 4 hours consist of an hour workout. I work out with them, or I write a workout for them. I watch him do it, take a shower, have breakfast, and then spend 2 hours doing homework. Once you're done doing that, I don't care what you do. You want to be on your computer all day? Get it, right? Because for me, part of success is creating the right routine, right? Something that really helps you grow. And they're doing it. They're working out and they don't complain. Grades are good.
So why you think, to be successful, you should have a good routine? Why?
It's about success is about, in my head, it's about creating the best image of you, creating the best person, right, of you, and the best of something. It's different for people, right? Different perspectives. I tell them, because they fight me on it, and I said, I am where I am. And I walked this journey, and it's the only journey that I know. I don't know anybody else's journey. I don't live anybody else's journey. This is my journey. And I know that I got here by creating the right routines. So if I would have made it because I won the lottery, you know what? Maybe I would be preaching, hey, play the lottery every day, right? But I didn't make it that way. I made it by, again, putting the time, the effort, creating the right routines, and I hope that they get it, right? Are there people that become successful and maybe they don't do that? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But this is the only thing I know.
Majority of them don't.
Great majority of them don't.
Yeah, majority of them don't. Matter of fact, I listened to, I follow this guy. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know who Gary V is. And I look at him and I'm like, man, there's no way I can do this. I mean, this guy is, he's worth way more than have much more companies. But I'm like, man, the time he put in this business, is huge, right? It's a lot. And I look at him, I'm like, man, he inspires me, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, But there's some people who are obsessed with their, with the success. And I feel like, and like Gary Vee always say that too, do what makes you happy, right?
100%.
Happiness is very important. 100%. If you're not happy in being a restaurant owner, then don't be it.
Correct.
I have a furniture store. If I'm not happy being a furniture store owner,
do something else.
Right? People find happiness in different things. I have friends who, work 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, and and
They're happy.
and they're happy Monday through Friday.
Correct.
And Friday they leave at 3 o'clock. And they make 30,000-40,000, teach their kids the little league, and
Yeah.
and they're very happy, right? Happiness is within itself. Matter of fact, I posted this on Instagram the other day, and I said, hey, you know what? Money does not buy you happiness, but like Lysol, it kills 99.9% of all your problems.
It does.
And, Julio, tell me, what do you think about this? Because I honestly think money does not buy you happiness. I believe it, but I don't like it when it comes out of people who don't have any money and have never had it. Because if you never had anything, you can't say it
Correct.
doesn't do it, right? It's just like if I never drove a Lamborghini, I don't know how it rides.
You don't know if you like it or not.
I don't know if I
Exactly.
like it or not. I can't say Lamborghinis are trash.
Correct.
Never drove one. Okay? So I can't review on it. So if I've never had money, I shouldn't review on will money make me happy or not.
Correct.
What do you think about that?
I think money is a great tool, right? I think making enough, it allows you to live a more creative and free mind, I think, and provides you with that level of happiness. I don't know that going from making $1 million to $100 million a year, I don't know that you're 100 times happier. I don't think that's the case. But going from maybe barely making enough to eat to now having enough to provide for your family, and that's making money, right? I think that does provide you with a level of happiness.
Right.
But again, I don't think that, you go from $1 million to $100 million, you're 100 times happier.
At that point, it doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter,
but
exactly.
definitely, yeah, how you say, if I'm saving enough money to take my family out to restaurant maybe once every 2-3 months, to be able to go once or twice a week and not looking at the menu to make sure if I have enough money to pay this bill,
Yes.
versus, okay, it's okay, let's order it and we'll eat, right?
Correct.
We don't want to be stupid,
Correct.
but at the same time, we'll enjoy, right?
Correct.
That creates a little happiness, a little make yourself content. And I honestly, that's what I believe, right? Because I've done that, right?
Yes.
I've gone to, we came I came with my family over here over 28 years ago, and I know, to us, going out was going to Burger King and buy the $1 Whopper, and we were happy, man.
100%.
We were really happy, because Whopper used to be 99 cents, and parents used to like, tonight we going out, yeah, we go to Burger King, and we were happy, bro.
Yeah.
And to not having enough money to make sure, looking at the bill, looking at the menu, making sure, looking at my wallet, if I can pay this, no, I don't want this, I'll take this. You know what I mean? To being able to not look at the menu, and I think that gives me a little piece of happiness. But I just feel like, yeah, you're right. If I make $100 million,
Would it
will
be
it make me happier?
No.
You know,
100%.
definitely not. But I mean, not having money
That's
creates
difficult.
more problems than having enough money.
Because I feel like not having money, that's your only concern in life, right? How do I make enough? How do I pay my bills? How do I take my family out? How do I buy the gifts that they want or give them the life that they deserve? So your entire life becomes, how do I make enough? And you neglect yourself, you neglect your creativity, you neglect, I guess, your potential in life, because the only thing you're thinking about on a daily basis, how do I pay my bills?
How am I gonna get the rent paid and everything?
Correct.
So Julio, what's next in life for Julio Garcia?
You know what? I enjoy what I do. We're talking about happiness.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been happier in my life. So keep in mind, I've gone from having 6 restaurants, doing more in sales and everything else, reputation and knowledge, and being recognized and everything else. So I've gone from having that to today having 2 restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly tell you, I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Uh-huh.
In part because I believe that I am in control of my destiny, right? Wherever we go next, I'm going to consult it first with the one above, and then just chase it, right? I have a phenomenal team. My staff is, I would do anything for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they would do anything for the company as well. So what's next for me is I want to create opportunities for them. We have a couple of properties that we're looking at to expand our company. People ask me, would you like to take it national? you know what? I like to take it global if I can, right? And again, it's not about money. It's about me proving to myself that I have the ability to do what I set out to do, right? And building the best me on a daily basis. We want to create all the concepts, right? I think we found the formula, the right designers, the right chefs, the right properties, and then the right operators. So just expanding a company, I think, is what's next.
Well, I mean, Houston is huge. So, I mean, you got a lot of opportunity in Houston. Rome wasn't built in a day.
100%.
You know.
And I feel like the past 10 years that I've been in business, there have been a learning lesson, right?
Every day is a lesson.
Every day. You know, I at the beginning of the podcast, I said I sold the company. But if I am honest with you, I was forced to sell the company, right? The franchisor decided I wasn't a good operator anymore. And he did everything he could to kick me out.
Yeah.
So it's been learning experiences, right? My ride for the past 10 years hasn't been rainbows and flowers. And no, man, it's
hard.
It's been hard. It's been very hard.
And a lot of time people look at the last image and they don't see the way they get there. I mean, you know, like sometimes people tell me, man, you came out of nowhere. I've been doing it for 22 years, you know? And I mean, I'm sure you hear that all the time, you know? And I mean, you know, like, you know, really good friend of mine. I mean, and I know that you're good friends with Russell Libata also, and he has, you know, Gringos,
yes.
right? And he's been doing it for a very long time too.
Correct.
Right? And it's just like, we feel like, oh man, he got it set and everything. And I mean, but it took a long time, you know, to get there.
Correct.
And there's a lot of struggles and tears and heartaches and sleepless nights. I mean, hell, I mean, you know, we going through this pandemic. And I mean, you know, and even though I've been doing this for 22 years, when coronavirus first hit and everything was about to get shut down, I mean, there was 3 or 4 nights I couldn't sleep. And I'm one of those guys, you know, when the lights go off or I hit my head on the pillow,
out.
I'm out, right? And I couldn't sleep till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to go to Walgreens and go get melatonin pills to go to sleep, you know? And those won't help, you know? So I'm like, you know, it's just because as a business owner, your mind is always racing.
Correct.
Right? What am I going to do next? And you know, you were in it. Every day was different.
100%.
Every day changed. Tell us a little bit about what did you do, you know, when this challenge came and everything was shut down, the restaurants are shut down now, and all of a sudden you're like, well, that's part of my dining is part of my business. 80%,
90% of my, it's dining.
Right? Because especially in your restaurant, you know, it's a little sit down, enjoy the food, because it's a different kind of food. It's an experience. What happened? How did you do it?
So funny you say that. I was having a conversation with my wife yesterday with Amber, and she said, you know what? And I never knew this. The day that they announced, it was a Monday evening, 5 p.m., and the judge and the mayor, they announced that we needed to close, right? Dining rooms are closed. I didn't know this. My wife was at home. I was at the restaurants. And yesterday she said, you know what? You don't know this, but when they said that, I cried, right? I think you feel so powerless. So there's nothing you can do to save your business. There's nothing you can do to change that, right? And now you're going to be faced with this challenge, not for something you did. It's not, you didn't do anything wrong, right? And now you're forced to shut down your businesses. And the overwhelming pressure of knowing that I had maybe 120, 130 employees that depend on me. So in my head, I made the conscientious decision, you know what? I am not going to go through this pandemic from a place of fear, right? I am the leader. I am the captain of this boat. I called the meeting right away. So Tuesday morning, we had 2 meetings, one at 9 o'clock at one of the locations and at 11 o'clock at the other location. And it was difficult to see my staff sitting around with fear in their eyes, right? They didn't know what was going to happen. Most of the people that work in the industry, they don't have 3 months saved, right, to pay their bills. They live day to day. So I remember seeing them fear and not knowing what was going to happen. So I've always believed that I am a motivator. I can empower people, and that's the position I took. I stood up in front of my staff and I said, you know what, this is an opportunity. We're gonna do great, and little by little, I can see how they're, standing up taller, and they look more confident. And people come to me today, and that's what they say. They say, Julio, thank you for those words. They allow me to believe that we were gonna be okay. So my wife immediately went online and created an online ordering platform. She called the governor's office, because margarita sales and liquor sales are huge, and called and called and called just to see if they would approve us or everybody selling liquor. She got the word that they were going to approve it a day before they announced it. So a day before they announced it, we already had margaritas on the website for sale. Bottle, everything. So we were very proactive in making changes, very proactive in redesigning our dining rooms and the deliveries and the platforms and all of that.
And I know margarita sales saved a lot of restaurants.
Yes.
Liquor sales saved a lot of restaurants. And like we said, our good friend Russell said, it saved us.
Yes.
Okay. And so now you did to go and everything, and I know some of your employees shared with me that you were there every day.
Yes.
So you worked harder than ever.
100%.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is I asked one of my good friends, because when I first opened or took up my first business, I would wake up feeling afraid, and it's a sense of fear that has never gone away, right? And the fear is that now I have this business and I don't want to lose it, right? I worked so hard to get here, I don't want to lose it. So I think for me, I was at the restaurant every day, if I'm honest, out of fear, right? Not knowing how the day was going to behave or what challenges we're going to go through. And I didn't want the restaurants to go through that challenge while I'm at home watching TV, or while I'm home drinking a margarita, right? I want to be there and face the challenge as they come, right? And hopefully be able to make the right decision. So yeah, I was there every day, right? Not afraid of maybe contracting the virus, or not afraid. And also to build morale, you can't ask your staff to risk themselves and serve the guests.
Not be there.
And not be there. I don't think it's fair.
So yeah, I mean, that's funny you said that. So we have that in common. I mean, I came to work every day. I mean, I don't think I missed one day. I mean, if I was not in the office and the warehouse, I was at the stores to make sure I was there every day. And I mean, it's fear, right?
Yes.
It's fear.
100%.
How am I going to lose it? What's going to happen? And I mean, I think we all see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I mean, we don't know. Things can change tomorrow,
Correct.
right? We
Correct.
don't know. But at the same time, what that brings me, what you said is people in the industry and people around us, they don't save money for 3 months or 6 months that we should.
Correct.
I've always been a big advocate of saving because I've been through the Great Recession,
Correct.
2008, right? That taught me, if you're going to be in business, you better save money. And not only business, and this should teach every individual a lesson that you should have savings. I was telling this to one of my friends the other day, and they got very agitated when I was telling them that, because I wasn't trying to tell them to do it. I'm just trying to help them.
Sharing.
I'm like,
yes.
listen, every week, take $100 out of your check and put it in an account, direct transfer. You will never see it. You will never miss it.
Correct.
Okay. I'm like, the problem is people save money after they spend it. And when you do have that mindset, you'll never save.
You don't have enough to save.
You have to save before you spend it. $100 in my business principle. My business, every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Anything I make Monday, Wednesday, Friday, anything I make before the days before that, so whatever I make on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, on Monday, it goes into the account. I don't even see it.
Good.
To the savings. Everything I make on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning is automatic transfer. And everything I make on Wednesday, Thursday, it goes on Friday. It's not I'm making it, I'm selling it, but I take a little bit out of it
Correct.
and put it in there. So, I mean, just so that I have that savings, so tomorrow I can grow my business, I can give raises. And if shit like this happen,
You have enough.
We have some coverage.
Correct.
But I mean, even though if I had some coverage,
It would have never.
it was not enough, right?
Correct.
Because the money was going like at a full power speed and nothing was coming in. And so I mean, for people who say, hey, well, everything was closed, at least you have something. Because if you don't save anything, there's nothing. And I mean, I tell this trick to everybody. If you're an individual, if you're a company, if you're a business, save some money. Saving is not a bad word. Saving is a good word.
And I think you got started that way, right? Your mom would put money away.
Yes, exactly.
Saving.
My mom would put that away and save it, and that's what gave me enough money to open up the store. Very little, but in 2008, man, when Great Recession hit, I'm like, man, I don't have no money saved.
Wow.
And I'm like, and I'll pray to God. I'm like, God, if you just let me get through this, and God will get you through this. But God did not put human on the ground, and God promised food and everything to human. But if you don't go to work, guess what?
Correct.
You die hungry.
Correct.
That's why God gave you 2 feet, 2 hands, and a brain to think. And if you got to
chase it every day, of course.
You got to chase it. So the pandemic goes through, and everything, and I'm hoping that everything is good. But it's scary, right? And for business owners, scary. Am I gonna lose it?
Correct.
It's scary for the employees. How am I gonna feed my family? And we are blessed to live in the greatest country in the world, right?
100%.
And I mean, because we could live in a third world country, and the government don't care.
100%.
And I mean, we are not, we take this for granted. That we live in the greatest country in the world. You can say, I hate this politician, and I hate this politician, and my right and my view is different. But at the same time, the country, and the Constitution and the branches of the government, I mean, they'll take care of the people.
The systems, the structure, everything is there to ensure that you're okay.
What are you doing right now at the store, at your restaurant, to make sure the customers feel comfortable?
We learned that we were going to open restaurants, and restaurants were one of the first things that they allowed to open. And in part because we made a pledge to the governor that we were going to follow the guidance and rules. So some of the guidance we committed to is we take temperatures for every single one of our guests. If you're over 100 or 100, we ask you to come back on a different visit, or we can place a to-go or delivery order. We don't allow you to come in.
So you all are taking temperature at the door?
At the door.
And what kind of reaction have you had from people?
You know what? People are understanding. Every now and then you'll see someone says, well, you're invading my privacy, but it's happened to maybe 1 or 2 guests.
So let me ask you a question. Is your staff wearing masks?
Yes.
All of it? 100%
All of it.
Mandatory?
Mandatory. And everybody goes through a quick check at the door, right? The manager is at the door and, okay, you have fever, chills, you feel this way or that way. Have you been exposed or anybody around feel this way? And the answer is no to everything. We take your temperature. You're welcome to come and work.
Okay.
But I remember we had a server who was, I have allergies. I don't care if it's allergies or not. I'm not going to risk. I'm not going to take a chance that you have the virus and now you're spreading it to every single one of your coworkers and the guest.
Yeah.
So we do temperature checks at the door for the employees and the guests. Everybody is mandatory. Wear mask. We have hand sanitizer stations throughout the entire restaurant. And we created a position that we call it a sanitizer. And that's just one person that 24/7, it's just walking around the restaurant, sanitizing the restaurant. Right? Knobs, doors, restrooms. We purchase, or we have now all disposable paper menus. Everything that the guests touch and share is disposable. We don't have salt and pepper shakers on the table. If you want salt and pepper, we'll bring you individual disposable packages. And even if you don't use them, we don't put them back and use them for the next guest. It just goes to the trash.
Yeah.
And we act from a position that people have it. The people that sat at this table have the virus. The people that serve this table have the virus. And we're going to make sure that we don't pass it along to anybody else.
Julio, first of all, I want to thank you for your time, for coming over here. Time is something, a commodity that doesn't come back, so I appreciate you donating your time to our podcast, Make Shit Happen. I asked this question to everybody, but before I ask this, I want to know, you coming from the humble beginnings, coming to a different country at age 19, trying to go to school, do all that stuff, make yourself, better yourself, and the journey continues, but you're happy, the most happiest right now that you've ever been in life. What kind of message you have for the youth? Somebody who's sitting over here listening and they're like, you know what, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I want something. What kind of message would you give?
So this is something I preach to my staff daily because they're mostly young people. My one message to everybody is take your time. Allow life to help you grow, develop your talents first. And I can say this with confidence, Sam. Big breaks, big opportunities in life will come to everybody. I don't care who you are or where you come from. Whether you come from a broken family or addiction, it doesn't matter who you are. Big breaks will come. The challenge is, would you be ready for it? Will you develop these years and months and sometimes decades developing yourself so when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it? Or would you spend all this time blaming life and not taking advantage of opportunities, not investing in yourself, so when the opportunity comes, you will see it come and go, and yeah, you will continue doing what you do, blaming that, well, maybe I wasn't ready, and so take your time, enjoy what you do, be kind to yourself. Opportunities will come.
Opportunities. What is your view of humility? To be humble, what do you think about that?
To be humble is, I think it's to serve, to be kind to people.
And why is that important?
Oh man, it's everything in life. I think myself, I have found the most joy when I'm serving, when I'm kind to others, when I see that reaction. So I don't know how much time I have left, but I have a story.
Tell us.
I had one restaurant in Vintage, and I remember seeing this guy got dropped off by Metro, and he was in a wheelchair. And I saw him go from restaurant to restaurant, right, in a wheelchair. And he was moving his wheelchair with his mouth, with his head. And I saw him go from place to place, and he finally came into my restaurant. And the hostess came and got me, and it's like, hey, Mr. Julio, they want to talk to you. So I go up to the gentleman. Hi, how are you? And the guy said, I'm hungry. I said, okay. How can I help you? He says, I'm hungry. I have money, but nobody will feed me. And I said, no. Have a seat. And I remember vividly, I held the menu. I asked him what he wanted. I ordered his meal. And he was paralyzed from the neck down. But he was hungry. And ordered the food. I took my time and fed him. Right? It was a little bit embarrassing to me, I'm not going to lie. Because he didn't feel stuff. So I would feed him, and then half of the food would come out of his mouth, and I had to clean it. But to this day, I am very proud of that moment, right? I fed the guy, and the guy had money to pay. He wasn't begging for a free meal. He just wanted somebody to feed him. And that to me is being a human, right? Putting other people first, outside of what maybe you're ashamed of or your shortcomings, and that what helps you grow. And I can tell you, Sam, that's who I am. My wife came to me and one day out of nowhere and says, you know what? I love you more today than I ever have. And I said, where does that come from? It says, I went to get my hair, and the lady who did my hair told me a story about you. I'm like, and I don't remember this. She says she was in an accident. She had both of her arms in a calf. She couldn't move them. But she went in there and she was hungry. And she said that you spent the time and fed her. And she will never forget that act of kindness. Right? To me, being a human, being humble, means understanding that you're here to serve others. That's the biggest joy in life. It's not money. It's not vehicles. It's not recognition, right? Seeing my wife looking at me with such admiration, with such love, made me realize that That's the key, right? I don't have kids of my own today. We're working on it. But one of the main reasons we're working on it is because I want my kids to enjoy the fruits of my doing, right? And I don't want them to enjoy the cars away. I want them to go around and say, hey, I know your dad. He was good to me. Or he helped me at one point. So anyway, that's humility in my head.
Man, I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing that. So if everything was to finish today, and you have 3 messages for the future generation, your future kids, your stepkids, and everything has disappeared now. What is 3 things you'll leave for people, the world, and your future generation? What is 3 messages?
Wow. I think something I would tell people is believe in yourself, right? You have the dreams that you have because you have the talents. They're not random. They're not there just because, right? So that's 1. 2, be patient because those dreams will materialize. I've seen people not reach their goals because they give up before the big break, right? And they were not patient enough, and they just didn't. They lost their passion. So be patient. They will come. And the other will be, you do use your resources, whatever they are, maybe money, maybe talents, maybe use those resources to do good. I think that if you do follow all these 3 advices, you're living a good life, right? You're living a happy life.
Man, I appreciate it. That was powerful.
Thank you
so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for giving some advices, and thanks for sharing the story, man. I really appreciate that one.
Thank you, sir.
That matter of fact, I admire you more today than before you came. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Hey, good luck. Hopefully you open a whole bunch of other restaurants, and 5 years, 3 years down the road, we'll be like, man, remember that time we talked about it. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam, for your support.